ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। सादर प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण सादर प्रणाम प्रभु।
सादर प्रणाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's Bhakti Shastri class. Before we start today's assignment, I wanted to know, why do we do Mangalacharan before beginning of any class, of any program, of any spiritual activities? Usually we do Mangalacharan. Why? Manidhar Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रणाम। मंगलाचरण अर्थात मंगल आचरण, हमारे आचरण भी शुद्ध होते हैं, मंगल होते हैं। और हम जब कहीं क्लास शुरू करते हैं या भगवान की लीला सुनते हैं तो उसके पहले हमें जो फोकस अर्थात एकाग्रता की जरूरत पड़ती है और तो उससे मिलता है। और हम मंगलाचरण में गुरु परंपरा
one point, so that others also get a chance. So good. Mangalacharan, yes, ekagrata. Why do we do Mangalacharan before beginning of any auspicious or beginning of any spiritual activity? Why? Yes, Pratima Mataji. Please, I would suggest everybody, request everybody, today is holy, no bahana of office. So kindly put your videos on and be lively in class. Yes.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। जैसे हम लोग कुछ करना चाहते, कोई भी काम, खास करके जब भक्ति के कुछ काम करना चाहते हैं, सेवा हो या और कुछ, तो हम पहले अपने गुरु आचार्यगण को प्रणाम करते हैं, श्रद्धा निवेदन करके उनके चरणों में, फिर हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। इसलिए पहले इसलिए मंगलाचरण करते हैं।
Why do we pay obeisance? So we pay
क्योंकि
obeisance.
गुरु के आशीर्वाद के साथ, और आगे हम कुछ
For their blessings.
हम योग्य नहीं है, हम वो चीज के योग्य नहीं है जो गुरु हमारे लिए आगे काम बढ़ा देंगे। तो
okay, we don't deserve. Also for their blessings. Abhishek Prabhu, please put your hands down once you have told. Yeah.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। सेम आई सेकंड प्रतिमा माता जी।
No,
हम
any
गुरु
other
और
extra point,
भगवान
any new
की
point. No beating around the bush. Any new point? I'm looking for something, some word.
मैं वही बोलने जा रहा हूँ।
Why do we do Mangalacharan? Evam parampara praptam. All this spiritual knowledge is passed on through Guru Parampara, Guru disciplic succession. So that is one of the reasons why we do Mangalacharan. If you notice in Mangalacharan, we have all the, usually the paramparas, we recite their names, their pranam mantra in disciplic succession, because these spiritual knowledge is received in Guru Parampara, Guru Sishya Parampara. Unlike material knowledge has not been passed down from Guru's disciplic succession. Think about the biology teacher, chemistry teacher in your school days. Were they in some disciplic succession? Nothing like that. Anybody came, purchased a book and started teaching. That's it. Okay. So we're going to start today, third chapter. I hope you all have studied. It's very, why do you think we should study the chapters before the class? How it helps? Ankita Mataji, Sadhvita Mataji. What is your opinion? What are your opinion? Why we should study the passage before the class? Ankita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, so that we easily relate with the topic.
Okay. Any other points? Why should we read the chapter before the class? Manidhar Prabhu.
यस प्रभु, हम जब पढ़ लेते हैं पहले से तो यदि कोई संदेह होता है, कोई इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट होता है तो हम उसको अंडरलाइन कर लेते हैं और उसको फिर आपसे क्लास में पूछ सकते हैं.
Doubt clearance. Excellent. Any other points? Why we should read the passage before the class? So we get clear understanding, complete understanding about the topic. First through our endurance and then group presence. Okay. First through our personal endurance, because when you're reading alone, you are just alone. You are reading on your own. And when I'm reading or somebody else is reading, you're only hearing Shravana Mura. So, okay. So that's another advantage. You have complete understanding. Holistic approach. Shravanam and Kirtanam. Kirtanam, why? Because you're reading. Shravanam, why? Because in the class you're hearing. Let us all pray to Srila Prabhupada. This works for me actually. Before starting off anything, I usually chant Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra, and it gives a lot of strength. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschat Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita chapter 3. The name of the chapter is Karma Yoga. Please unmute yourself and repeat after me. Arjuna Vacha. Jayasi chet karma naste.
जयमसि चेत् कर्मणास्ते
Mata buddhir janardhana.
मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन
Tat kim karmani ghore.
तत्किं
कर्मणि घोरे
Mam yojayasi keshava.
मोचति केशव।
Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work. Please pay 100% attention. I hope you all have read. Otherwise, ऊपर से जाएगा. The SPOG Sri Krishna has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter. Constitution of the soul means the characteristics of soul, right? With a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. And the path of realization has been recommended Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Okay. Please give me synonyms for Buddhi Yoga. Please give me synonyms for Buddhi Yoga.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Gyan Yoga.
Bhakti yoga.
Bhakti Yoga, yes.
Bhakti jona bhakti yoga. Intelligence. Krishna gives us
Yes.
intelligence.
Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. These are synonyms. Sadrita Mataji?
Yes, also yesterday we read that Karma Yoga also, because for devotees.
For devotees, Karma Yoga, yes. In that context, in that, otherwise people will
in that context.
Here or Krishna consciousness also. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. Inertia means sudden whims, impulsive. Sudden Krishna consciousness, achanak, mood mein aa gaya. Like impulsive purchase. You know what is impulsive purchase and planned purchase?
अचानक से कुछ खरीद लेना है, जोश में आ जाना.
हाँ, yes. That kind of thing is Krishna consciousness. No, it is not like that. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia, and one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of the Lord Krishna. Achanak mood mein aa gaya, akela ek jagah jakar, I will just chant the way Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur chanted for 10 years. Something like that. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, it is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place, where one may acquire only cheap adoration from the innocent public. Arjuna also thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence in spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life and the practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. In other words, he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his spiritual master and questioned Krishna as to his best course of action. In answer, Lord Krishna elaborately explained Karma Yoga or work in Krishna consciousness in this third chapter. That is, work in Krishna means work at the same time, balance it off with your spiritual life. So you work and you offer the fruitive results of your work to Krishna. Krishna never advised Arjuna that, see, I am here now, you go to sleep, I'll take care of the fight. He did not advise that. He told, Mam anusmara yuddhacha. You do yadha, you fight, but at the same time you think of me. You follow your varnashram, you're a Kshatriya, you fight, but in your mind, I should be there. Mam anusmara. Anuspara means smaran karo mujhe, yuddhacha, but you fight. That is work in Krishna consciousness. That is what Krishna advised him. I hope purport is understood. Sloka number 2. If not, I will not stop. You understand? I am trying to go through every lines of Srila Prabhupada. So I can only stop when you raise your hand. Vyamisre neva vakyena. बोलिए. बुद्धि मोहायसी वमे. तदेकं वद निश्चित्य. येन श्रेयोऽहम् आप्नुयाम्. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instruction, ek jaisa instruction. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me, to fully work in Krishna consciousness or to balance it off, which will be better for me. In the previous chapter, as prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the position of a neophyte. So many things was explained. But which one I should choose? That is Arjun asking Krishna. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by any jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness either by inertia or by active service. In other words, by his questions, he is clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously wants to study or understand the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. So on behalf of us, he is clearing all the doubts, he is clearing all the so-called confusions. Any question? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. बोलिए.
Shri Bhagavan
Lokasmin dvidha nishtha. Pura prokta maya nagha. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Karma yogena yoginam. Always remember in this chapter that this chapter is called Karma Yoga. Okay. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is going to recommend Karma Yoga process. Okay. The SPOG said, "O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service." Purport. In the second chapter, verse 39, the Lord explained two kinds of procedures, namely Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. or Buddhi Yoga. Now see, Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. One is Sankhya Yoga, mane, through mental speculation, analytical study, and the other Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga or devotional service or Krishna consciousness. These are all synonyms. Clear? Yes. बोलिए.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhuji, can you please explain again what you have explained now? The Sankhya Yoga is means philosophical.
Analytical study. It will come now. Sankhya Yoga, or the analytical study of the nature of spirit and matter, is the subject matter for persons who are inclined to speculate and understand things by empirical knowledge and philosophy. More like the Gyanis. The other class of men work in Krishna consciousness, as it is explained in the 61st verse of the second chapter. The Lord has explained also in the 39th verse that by working by the principles of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action. And furthermore, there is no flaws in the process. There is no flaws in the process means Buddhi Yoga or devotional service is perfect. There is no loss in the process. Remember, Neha Vikrama Nasosti Praktavayu na Vidyate Swalpam Apyas Dharmasya. Thora bhi bhajan kirtan karega, this would be carried forward in the next life. Now, there is no loss. The same principle is more clearly explained in the 61st verse. That is, that this Buddhi Yoga is to depend entirely on the Supreme, or more specifically on Krishna. And in this way, all the senses can be brought under control very easily. So in those chapters, and in that chapter, those verses, we discussed how when the senses are put in the service of the Lord, automatically they are purified. Automatically. You don't have to do anything extra separately. For example, the good habits of a nice citizen, it is automatically imbibed in the habits of a devotee. They automatically come. You don't have to practice separately how to become anger free, how to have patience in life, how to be well behaved, well spoken. When you come in Krishna consciousness, these things naturally come. The senses automatically becomes purified. Your eyes, you start seeing good things, you start hearing good things, you start eating good things. So you don't have to independently persevere, for acquiring these habits. They automatically come. And Prabhupada had told in those verses, Yashasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinchana Sarve Gunestatra Samasate Sura. All the good habits, all the good behaviors, all the good deeds of the demigods, they are imbibed by devotees by coming into spiritual life. Automatically. All the good habits, all the good attributes, qualities of the demigods, they come in the devotees automatically. Therefore, both the yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Amazing sentence, very, very hi-fi sentence, and you will cherish if you understand this. I repeat, religion without philosophy is sentiment. Okay, religion without philosophy. Philosophy is more like theory. Religion is more like practical. Now, I'll give you an example and you'll answer. Say, you remember those school days when we had chemistry subject? We used to attend chemistry class. And also once a week, we used to go to the chemistry lab. Correct? Okay. What was theory? Chemistry class. What was practical? Whatever we learned in chemistry class, we used to go and apply those in chemistry lab. To take a test tube and put this, and we used to see the reactions, what we learned in class. Similarly, what is going on now? More or less theory. We are hearing about the different tattvas of Krishna consciousness. Where will be practical? When we perform our devotional service, archanam, drama, kirtan, then yatra, and many others. Mala seva, kitchen seva. And then we'll see whether whatever we have learned, they're coming into application or not. Correct? Of all the different things we learned in class. And also in day-to-day life. Forget about just devotional service. Even in day-to-day life, the things which we learn in theory, they are also tested in our day-to-day life. So that is practical. So now I come back to this sentence. Read this sentence very carefully. Religion without philosophy is sentiment. Religion without philosophy. Practical, say if some person is just doing practical service, but he is not attending class, theory kuch nahi hai, is sentiment. You understand sentiment? Out of bhavukta, he is doing these services. If there are a lot of people who do a lot of services, but they don't attend class, philosophy nahi hai. Hota hai aise? You tell them any service, they will do it. Prabhuji, can you please serve? Yes. Prabhuji, can you do this? Yes. Sab kar lega. But they never attend class. So they don't have any theory knowledge. Why they are doing, for whom they are doing. Wo sab nahi hai. So what will happen? It is more like sentiment. That's why it is written, religion without philosophy is sentiment. Or sometimes fanaticism. While philosophy without religion is mental speculation. Again, on the other side, there are a lot of people who attend all the classes, but they never do any service. Hota hai na aisa? Hai na? So they have a lot of knowledge. So philosophy, they have a lot of philosophy, but without religion, without practical application. It is what? It is mental speculation. सिर्फ स्पेकुलेट कर रहा है, ओ ऐसा करना चाहिए, ओ ऐसा करना चाहिए, लेकिन खुद कभी कुछ किया ही नहीं. अंकिता माताजी.
হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভুজি। তার মানে এটা থেকে আমরা বুঝতে পারছি আমাদের থিওরিও করতে হবে, প্র্যাকটিক্যালও করতে হবে।
Absolutely.
যে কোনো পরীক্ষায় পাস করার জন্য যেমন আমাকে ল্যাবও গিয়ে ল্যাব টেস্টও দিতে হবে, আবার পেপার পেনও এক্সাম দিতে হবে, ভক্তি জীবনটাও তাই। মানে আমাদের শাস্ত্রগুলো অধ্যয়ন করতে হবে।
একটু তফাৎ আছে। থিওরির জন্য যেমন স্কুলে কম্পালসারি ছিল গিয়ে থিওরি কেমিস্ট্রি ল্যাবে যেতে হবে, ভক্তি জীবনে এরকম কিছু না। হয়তো কখনো বলবেন আপনি, আমি কখনো সেবা পাইনি, আমি কি করব? আরে পাওনি, গিয়ে চাও, অথরিটিকে গিয়ে বলো, আই এম গুড ইন এআই, আই এম গুড ইন পোস্টার মেকিং, আই এম গুড ইন সিঙ্গিং, আই এম গুড ইন কুকিং, প্লিজ গিভ মি সাম সার্ভিস। You all should hear Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj's, there is one very famous lecture in YouTube. Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj, very, very passionate speaker Maharaj, is no more there, saying, devotees should go and ask Guru Maharaj. This is the way Maharaj speaks. Hey Guru Maharaj, tell me how can I serve this mission? How can I serve Srila Prabhupada? Please, put me in the service of Krishna. That's how the disciple should go and ask. Now, Guru Maharaj does not mean always you will get access to Guru Maharaj. It means authority. It means your immediate servant leader, whoever you are under guidance you are. You should go and say that these are things I know. Please tell me, how can I put my skills in the service of the Lord? Bolna parega. That fellow is very busy. He is handling 200 more people. Don't expect that he will come to, no, jab aayega tab bolenge. No. You should understand, it is our need. We are not small kids. We know what is good for us and what is bad for us. Hum log ka bhook hai. By being into Krishna consciousness and nicely fixed in services, our senses will be purified. हम लोग को फायदा है, वो समझना पड़ेगा. Here nobody is going to spoon feed you. You all enrolled for Bhakti Shastri on your own. You all are paying for it also. Why? Because you all have some knowledge that it is for our good. Our senses will get purified. That's why you all have joined. Don't expect that somebody will come and force you to join. No, up to you. Pratima Mataji.
প্রভুজি মোটামুটি মানে ক্লিয়ার হয়ে গেছে। আমি জিজ্ঞাসা করছি।
So I repeat this statement of Srila Prabhupada, very important. Religion without philosophy is sentiment, or sometimes fanaticism. Bhavukta, fanaticism, bhavukta. Now the problem is, you know what? I'll give you an example. A person who has a lot of theory but no practical, where is the problem? What can happen in the long run? He can be of no use to the movement. And on the other hand, a person, a devotee, who is doing a lot of services but never has any theory in his head, the problem, you know what? He can do those services anywhere. कल कोई दूसरा इंस्टीट्यूशन बुलाएगा, भैया आ जाइए, मेरा इधर थोड़ा सर्विस कर दीजिए, वहां भी कर देगा. क्यों? Because he doesn't know. कोई ज्ञान नहीं है. His services are not backed by any theory. So he doesn't know whom he is serving. He doesn't know that he is serving the devotees of the Supreme Lord. कुछ ज्ञान ही नहीं है. वो सिर्फ करेगा सर्विस, उसको सर्विस से मतलब है. He'll run full speed. Which direction he doesn't know. Maybe he's running full speed but in the opposite direction. So what's the point? The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The indirect process is philosophical speculation, by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. So the indirect process, Shivani Mataji, which you had asked, that is like going through every step of the stairs. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, then Dhyana Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga. Yeah. And you might come or you might not come also. But the direct process is taking the elevator and going directly to Bhakti Yoga. Now, by our good fortune, we came across ISKCON. When we came, before coming, at least for myself, before coming in ISKCON, I was neither in Jnana Yoga, neither in Karma Yoga, forget about Dhyana Yoga. But by coming into ISKCON, the first day, I was given chanting beads to chant the rounds. And I was given also prashadam, the direct devotional service. Directly, ekdam top floor mein lekar gaya. That is the Sukriti of Prabhupada. So that is devotional service. That is Bhakti Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness, whatever you might call. And the other process is Sankhya Yoga, as it's given here, through mental speculation to Jnani, then become a yogi, then coming to finally into Krishna consciousness by the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnavas. That is a long process. Prahlad Narasimha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhu. Sorry Prabhu, I joined late and
No.
my net is also slow, so that is why I'm not switching on my video. Prabhu, my question was that as you said, one should have the philosophy as we are practicing, like as we are doing services, we should know the philosophy. But there are many devotees, they are uneducated, and so what should we do with them? And
See, you tell me one thing.
Yeah.
Whoever that person might be uneducated, I can accept. But at least he knows some language, Hindi, Bengali,
Yes,
English,
yes.
some mother tongue language. In that language, if he is given Krishna conscious philosophy, where does education come in the middle? You tell me. You tell me. Where does education come in between? You tell him Krishna is Supreme Lord. These are demigods. These are Krishna and his avatars. This is Guru. You tell him in his mother language. Where is education coming in between?
Yeah.
Boliye.
No, yes, Prabhu.
We have in different languages Bhagavad Gita. We have
Yes,
different language preachers. Even in tribal, we have Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj preaching the tribals. He has become a tribal ministry and all that. Now, those people are usually mostly not educated. So we have preachers in tribal language. They are preaching them in tribal language. They are uneducated, but क्या दिक्कत हो रहा है?
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhu. Yes.
Sloka number?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. 4. तो अब कुछ बाकी है ना इसमें? Last few sentences. And the other process is directly connecting everything with Krishna in Krishna consciousness. Of these two, the path of Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by a philosophical process. How we purify our senses? By putting it into Krishna services. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process. And by direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easy and sublime. पता ही नहीं चलता है sublime. पता ही नहीं चलता कब senses purify हो गया. कब हम लोग को और we don't feel like smoking and drinking and gutka and whatever we had, those before coming into the process. It goes very sublime, natural, पता ही नहीं चलता. Just like the growing of the hair is so sublime. Aging is so sublime. न कर्माणाम अनारंभान बोलिए कर्म्यम पुरुषो स्नुते न च संन्यासनादेव सिद्धिं समाधि गच्छति. Yes, who wants to read? Not, yes, Abhishek Prabhu.
Not by merely abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
Please reread. Not by?
Not by merely abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction.
One sec. এই জিনিসটা বুঝতে পেরেছেন সবাই? Not by merely abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction. Not so. If Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you abstain from work, means if you don't fight, will there be no reaction? There will be reaction because you are a Kshatriya and you are not fighting. You will get penalized. Am I understood? Or nor, now the other part of the sentence, nor by renunciation alone can attain perfection. So Arjuna, you want to renunciate? You want to leave everything and go to some mountain and just practice alone? You think you will get perfection? Sorry, sir. Your mind will not be in your control. You will get flickering mind, and don't think that alone through renunciation and alone renunciation you will get perfection. No. More it will be explained clearly in the purport. The renounced order.
Purport: the renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duties, which are laid down just to purify the hearts of the materialistic men.
That is Varnashram system. Did you all get it? The renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by discharge of the prescribed form of the duties, which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men. So Varnashram system is there in the society for the materialistic men to purify and come to a level where they can practice Krishna consciousness. So Varnashram system was there in the Vedic system. Mainly, it was a good platform. Person, if you are a Brahmana, you do. If you have Brahmanical quality, you do a Brahmana. If you have Kshatriya quality, you are a Kshatriya. If you have Vaishya quality, you are a Vaishya. Similarly, those ashramas, 4 ashramas also, Grihastha, Brahmachari, Grihastha, 1% sannyasa. Those were there for materialistic person. Why? So that they can come to a platform to practice Krishna consciousness. It is easier for a person who is situated in Varnashram to practice Krishna consciousness. Usually. Without
purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, that is sannyasa.
Without purification, कुछ नहीं है. Direct कोई सन्यासी बन गया like Arjuna. कुछ process नहीं. अचानक no, I'll not fight. I'll go. It's better for me to renunciate and be like a beggar. He told last chapter. So it's not possible for that person to suddenly come and you take sannyas. No, there has been no purification of senses. Continue.
According to the empirical philosophers, simply by adopting sannyas or retiring from fruitive activities, one at once becomes as good as Narayan. But Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. Without purification of heart, sannyas is simply a disturbance to the social order.
So then you see so many sannyasis roaming around the streets and begging from shop to shop. You'll see every morning. They are a disturbance to the social order, to the society. Yes.
On the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance in the cause is accepted by the Lord. That is
समझ में आया? On the other hand, if somebody takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties. Understood, Rajiv Prabhu? Example Tukaram. He was a Grihastha. His prescribed duties was to earn and provide for his family. Now he did not do that. He was full-time 24/7 engaged in devotional service. So that's okay. For a higher cause, the lower causes can be sacrificed. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Grihastha. He gave up his family life for propagating Krishna consciousness. These are examples. Shivani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Here in the above translation, it is saying that not merely by abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction. And then in the purport, it is saying that even without discharging his prescribed duties. So it is a bit contradictory. I could not understand this.
Please tell me in the purport which line you're talking about.
Prabhuji, last line which we read now. That on the other hand, if someone takes to the transcendental service of the Lord, even without discharging his prescribed duties, whatever he may be able to advance in the cause is accepted by the Lord. But
So
in the
that is
above translation,
no, don't mix up. Those are two extremes, and both are right. One extreme is what? Somebody is giving up his prescribed duty, that is varnashram. Why? For a higher cause. That is the purport. Correct? Am I understood? Giving up varnashram for a higher cause, Krishna consciousness. That is absolutely fine. In the purport, what is written? Sorry, translation. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction. So this person, what is written in purport, he is not just abstaining from work, but also he is involving Krishna conscious activities. In the purport, the person is not only abstaining from materialistic work, at the same time, he is also fully participating in Krishna conscious activity. Whereas in the translation, only what is written is somebody is abstaining from work. So for that person, reactions will be there. Clear hua hai?
but he is not in Krishna consciousness.
Not in
And
Krishna
directly
consciousness.
he is
Arjuna was telling that I will give up everything and I will go. It's better to leave. I don't need kingdom. मैं छोड़ के भागूंगा. छोड़ के भागने से क्या उनको punishment नहीं मिलेगा? He's a Kshatriya. He's leaving his prajas to these Duryodhana and family. He'll get reactions. But if Arjuna told, I will give up everything, but I will full-time practice Krishna consciousness, that is another example. However, he did not tell that. So here in the purport, what is being referred to is a person who gives up his occupational duty and at the same time full-time engages himself into
Krishna consciousness.
That is okay. For a higher, then I give examples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I gave example of Tukaram. For a higher cause, lower causes can be sacrificed. Please continue. Swapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat.
Even a slight performance of such a principle enables one to overcome great difficulties.
Sloka number 5. Nahi kaschid shanam api. बोलिए सब. जातु तिष्ठति कर्म कृत. कार्यते हि अवश्य कर्म. सर्व प्रकृति जैर गुणे. Yes, who wants to read? Yes, please read, Prataji.
Even everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature.
Pause.
Therefore,
समझ में आया सबको?
प्रगति से अधिक गुणों के अनुसार विवश होकर कर्म करना पड़ता है अतः कोई भी क्षण के लिए भी बिना
Clear, Shubhankar Prabhu? Somebody is in a Rajagun, he'll act Rajaguni. Somebody who is always in a Satugun, he'll act Satuguni. Ankita Mataji?
হ্যাঁ, হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভুজি। মানে আমাদের সবসময় জড় প্রকৃতির যে 3 গুণের প্রভাবে কিছু না কিছু কর্ম করতেই হবে, কর্ম না করে আমরা থাকতে পারবো না, তাই বলা হচ্ছে কি?
না, act helplessly according to যে রজগুণী ব্যক্তি সে রজগুণী কার্য করবে helplessly, কারণ কি ওর প্রাইমারি ওর নেচারটাই রজগুণী। জিনিসটা বোঝার চেষ্টা করুন। এভরিওয়ান ইজ ফোর্সড বলা হয়েছে টু অ্যাক্ট হেল্পলেসলি according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. So কারোর যদি দেখুন সবাই 3 গুণেই প্রভাবিত হয়, কিন্তু তাও কোনো একটা গুণ প্রিডমিনেট থাকে। আমরা যদি আমাদের এখানে 15 জন না কজন আছি, যদি ভালো করে অ্যানালাইজ করি, আমিও অ্যানালাইজ করতে পারি, হয়তো তিনটে গুণই আমি প্রভাবিত হয়, কিন্তু কোনো একটা পার্টিকুলার গুণ আমায় প্রিডমিনেট করে। তেমনই শালিনী মাতাজিকে কোন একটা করে, তেমনই প্রহ্লাদ নৃসিংহ প্রভুকে কোন একটা করে, তেমনই মনোধর প্রভুকে কোন একটা করে। এভরিবডি, তো ওটাই বলা হচ্ছে। এন্ড ওই গুণের প্রভাবে ওরকম আমরা কার্যকলাপ করি। তো ফর এক্সাম্পল আমি ধরুন রজগুনি, আই এম মোর আ রজগুনি পার্সন, প্রিডমিনেটেড বাই রজগুনি, I will act helplessly according to Rajagun. Rajagun mane always passionate. ये करो, टाका 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 टाका, earning more, give me more, ये दिल मांगे more, something like that. वो नेचर ही वैसे रहेगा. If I am a Satuguni person, say predominating my modes of material nature is Satuguni, mode of goodness, you will find me more like, Satuguni activities, doing यजन याजन पठन पाठन, वैसे ब्राह्मणिकल क्वालिटीज रहेगा थोड़ा सतुगुनी. That is what it is said. I'll reread. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. ওই জন্য না আগে থেকে পড়ে ক্লাসে বসবেন, সবাইকে অনুরোধ করছে. এখানে এসে নতুন কিছু পড়বেন, এটা বুঝতে বুঝতে 1 ঘন্টা লেগে যাবে, ততক্ষণে ক্লাস লাস্ট লোক করছে. You understand? যতক্ষণ এটা মাথায় ঢুকবে না ততক্ষণে আগে বেরিয়ে গেছে ক্লাস. হোয়াট ইজ দ্য পয়েন্ট? এগুলো ওই জন্য পড়াশোনা করে তারপর ক্লাসে ঢুকলে খুব ভালো হবে. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Continue, Mataji. Purport.
It is not a question of embodied life, but it is the nature of the soul to be always active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it will be engaged in occupations dictated by the illusionary energy. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. But if the soul is engaged in his natural function of Krishna consciousness, whatever he is able to do is good for him. The Srimad Bhagavatam.
Pause. Please read slowly. Any question till now? Continue, Mataji.
The Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17 affirms this. Tyaktva swadharamam charanam bhujam harer bhajan avakvota patet tato yadi
Pause, please.
yat
त्वक्त्वा स्वधर्मम चरणम भजम हरिर. इफ कोई अगर व्यक्ति त्वक्ता मीन्स त्याग किया, क्या त्याग किया? स्वधर्म, अपने स्वधर्म को त्याग किया. वाई? चरणम भुजम हरिर, भगवान कृष्ण का चरण को भजन करने के लिए. कंटिन्यूअस. So somebody has given up his occupational duty for 24/7 working in Krishna consciousness. Okay? Then what happens? भजन अपक्व अथ पते ततो यदि. लेकिन बेचारा का भजन अपक्व परिपक्वता হয়নি. বুঝতে পারছেন প্রতিমা মাতাজি? সো সবকিছু ছেড়ে ভক্তির লাইনে গেল কিন্তু সেখানেও টিকতে পারলো না. হয় না এরকম অনেকে? না ঘর का ना घाट का. So now the question, it's a wonderful shloka. Yatra kwa bhadram abhudamusya kim. So what is the loss in that? What is the loss in that? भगवत गीता बोल रहा है, भागवतम बोल रहा है. What is the loss in that? कम से कम वो तो भजन कीर्तन के लिए अपना स्वधर्म को त्याग किया. हो सकता है वो फेल किया. So what? Who is in a better state? Somebody who has never tried, never given up, bhogi, fully engrossed in material life, or this person? Who is in a better position? Please tell me.
This person.
This person is in a better position because salpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. There is nothing lost in devotional service. जो कुछ भी किया उन्होंने उसके लिए he will be awarded. And the other fellow, he has done nothing, but he is doing his swadharma perfectly. Okay? সবাই বুঝতে পারছেন কি চলছে? Please continue.
If someone takes to Krishna consciousness, even though he may not follow the prescribed duties in the Shastras or execute the devotional service properly, and even though he may fall down from the standard, there is no loss or evil for him. But if he carries out all the injunctions for purification in the Shastras, what does it avail him if he is not Krishna conscious? So
Understood the other side? But if he carries out all the injunctions for purification, शास्त्र में जितना purification का सब कुछ perfectly कर रहा है, लेकिन भक्ति में नहीं है, तो सब zero. Please continue.
So the purificatory process is necessary for reaching this point of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, sannyasa or any purificatory process is to help reach the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna conscious, without which everything is considered a failure.
Every shloka, every purport is bombarding. That's why I would advise whoever your lifestyle, who your condition of life, if possible, have a good sleep, maybe for 45 minutes or 1 hour, reread the passage, and then enter the class. That would be very helpful to understand. Sloka number 6. Karmendriyani samyamya.
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
या अस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
यास्ते मनसा स्मरन्
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
मिथ्याचार स उच्यते.
मिथ्याचारोच्यते.
Please continue.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
Stop, please.
Purport.
समझ में आया? One who restrains the sense of action. नहीं, हमको मीठा मत दीजिए. नहीं, please take away these ladies. I don't want to talk to them. I'm a sannyasi. But मन वही घूम रहा है. Is called a pretender. Purport.
There are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness but make a show of meditation while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. Such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order. But if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual process in purifying his existence. But
Progress.
he who
Understood. If one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. So if one is placed in varnashram, so what happens when is placed in varnashram? Slowly he can purify his process. Slowly he can come to a process, to a place, to a platform where he can practice Krishna consciousness. That's why varnashram system is like, I'll give an example. Have you seen what happens in an airport? Now there is a runway which is around 5-6 kilometers. The aeroplane usually travel the runway and picks up a speed, and when it has picked up a good quantum of speed, then slowly it just tilts its head upwards and it flies. So that runway is compared to varnashram system, that is around 5-6 kilometers. So a person needs to travel through varnashram system for a long time, and then he will be in a position where he can take off and quit varnashram system fully to full-time practice Krishna consciousness. But if a person tries to be a helicopter, now what does a helicopter do? Does helicopter go through a runway? No. It takes directly from point zero to that is very dangerous. So one cannot take sannyasa or complete freedom from material obligations without purifying his senses. First you purify your senses fully, then you take sannyas. Okay, please continue.
But he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever.
Okay, so there are a lot of pretenders, a lot of false yogis and sadhus, and they were acting outside very good sadhu, and inside they were doing breaking all the 4 regulative principles, and few of them are behind bars. and as a result, the society has fully, the, you know, the 21st century would be, somebody said truly, this is spiritual terrorism. This is called spiritual terrorism. The 21st century would be dominated by spiritual terrorism, where people will lose faith in the Supreme Lord. They'll prefer to be Nastic after seeing the behaviors of such pretenders. They'll prefer, bhai, humko Nastic hi acha hai. That's why, few fellows are coming up with movies like, what's that? PK, you know, where it is teaching the society better to be a good fellow than to be a devotional fellow. Hmm. Don't go into this complicated industry of devotional. Don't step in. It's very complicated. Many sadhus are in behind bars. So just stay away from this. Be a good fellow. Pay your tax nicely. Be honest. Don't speak lie. Don't do any harm to others. Bas, wahi karo. है ना? That's what they are teaching. Sloka number 7. Yastrendriyani manasa
Yes,
Yaturindriyani manasa
niyam ya rabhate arjuna
niyamya arabhate
Niyamya
arjuna
Arabhate Na.
कर्मेंद्रिये कर्मयोगम
कर्मेन्द्रिये कर्मयोगं
आसक्ता स विशिष्यते.
आसक्तः विशिष्यते.
Yes, next who wants to read? Yes, please read, Mataji. Varun, Pratima Mataji, you raised your hand. Please unmute yourself.
Translation. On the other hand, he who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in works of devotion without attachment is by far superior.
My goodness, very, very, very different. I think very old edition you got. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. Excellent. Please read yourself. Take 10-15 seconds. Everybody read the translation. So he's trying to control his senses, and also he is acting in karma yoga or Krishna consciousness. So both correct. Theory, practical, do both together. He is far superior. Purport instead.
Purport. Instead of becoming a passive
Pseudo transcendentalist.
Pseudo transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and self enjoyment, it's far better to remain in one's own business and excuse the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God.
Hare Krishna. So instead of become a pseudo transcendentalist, a bogus spiritual pretender, इससे अच्छा है भाई तुम अपना वर्णाश्रम में रहो और अच्छा से पालन करो. Clear, Abhishek Prabhu? Please continue, Mataji.
The prime Swarthagati or goal of self-interest is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Asrama is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. Such a sincere person who follows
No. In that way make progress, full stop.
And in that way make progress. Such a sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts so bottled spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the
charlatan
meditator. Charlatan meditator. क्या होता है?
Dikhawa. Meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living.
Okay.
Okay.
Who meditates only for the sake of making a living.
Is it clear? Niyatam kuru karma tvam. बोलिए.
Guru karma tam.
Yayo hiya karmana.
Karmana.
Sharira yatra pichate. Na prashidhet akarmana. Yes, Jai Madhu Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Okay.
Purport.
So Arjuna is being advised. Yes, Pratima Mati, you have got a question? Otherwise, yeah, okay. So Arjuna is being advised to perform his prescribed duty. For doing so is better than not working. Okay. Arjuna, you do one thing. You are a Kshatriya. You perform your prescribed duty. What is the prescribed duty for a Kshatriya? To protect his prajas. You please fight the war. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. That's why, if you remember, when Krishna went as a mediator, as a peace mediator to Duryodhan, he told him, please, Duryodhan, avoid the war, just give 5 villages. Now, these fellows are Kshatriyas, Pancha Pandava. Give them 5 villages, they will be quietly be engaged in taking care of those 5 villages, and you can take the entire universe and rule. Remember, he told that, but Duryodhan said no. So, Kshatriya's duty is to rule. They cannot stay without ruling, administration, because it is nature of their. So that's what that's what Krishna, Supreme Lord, is advising here, Arjuna. Please reread. One cannot even
maintain one's physical body without work.
Purport.
There are many pseudo-meditators who misrepresent themselves as belonging to high parentage and great professional men who falsely pose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender. Rather, the Lord desired that Arjuna perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all,
Understood. Renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved. Understood? Very good. Continue, please.
After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously, without purification of materialistic propensities. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others.
Any question? I have a question for you all. There was one sentence in the purport. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scriptures. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance. Now, my question to you all is, Therefore, Shubhankar Prabhu, how will a renunciate maintain himself if he doesn't think of earning money somehow? How will he maintain? How will his body maintain? कैसे body में sadhu or sannyasi? How will he maintain himself? He has to think of some money ना. बोलिए.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु, तो साधु सन्यासी जो है वो कृष्ण के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट रहेगा.
Absolutely.
तो
Yes.
राखो भी मारो भी जो इच्छा तो मारो.
Yes.
तो
Excellent.
कृष्णा मेंटेन करेगा वो. अगर पूर्ण शरणागत होगा तो
Absolutely. Otherwise, don't become a renunciant. Don't take sannyasi. Who's telling you to forcibly take sannyasi? Don't be a sannyasi. Be a grihastha. Be a working person. काम करो, पैसा कमाओ. You have taken sannyasi and you are thinking of how will I maintain myself. So that means you have no 100% dependence on Krishna. Excellent. Good answer. Sloka number 9. Yes, Manidhar Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, अभी शुभंकर प्रभु ने अपने एक्सप्लेनेशन में कुछ कहा ना, वो कुछ पढ़े क्या? वो श्लोक था या कुछ दोहा था क्या बंगाली में?
What did you say? मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तो है. That's what he said. मारो भी राखो भी जो इच्छा तुआर नित्य दास प्रति तुआधिकार.
बहुत अच्छी लाइन थी.
What is the first line of the bhajan?
मारो किंबा राखो तुम्हार जा इच्छा.
What is the first line of the bhajan?
मारो भी.
मानुष देहो गेहो जो कीछु मोह और पिलो तू आपदे नंदो किशोर. Sloka number 9. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र बंधना तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय संग समाचरा. Yes, Salini Mataji, you want to read? Prahlad Singh Prabhu, Rajiv Prabhu, who wants to read? There's some background noise. Yes, please read. Jai Mother Prabhu, continue.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. Purport: since one has to work even for the simple maintenance of the body, the prescribed duties for a particular social position and quality are so made that that purpose can be fulfilled. Yagna means Lord Vishnu, or sacrificial performances. All sacrificial performances also are meant for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The Vedas enjoin Yagna by Vishnu. In other words, the same purpose is served whether one performs prescribed yagnas or directly serves Lord Vishnu. Krishna consciousness is therefore performance of yagna as it is prescribed in this verse. The Varnasrama institution also aims at satisfying Lord Vishnu. Varnasrama charavata purushena para puman. Vishnu aradhyate. Vishnu Purana 3.8.8. Therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in this material world will be a cause of bondage, for both good and evil work have their reactions, and any reaction binds the performer. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna or Vishnu. And while performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. This is the great art of doing work, and in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Lord Krishna or under the direct instruction of Lord Krishna himself, under whom Arjuna had the opportunity to work. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification, but everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice will not only save one from the reaction of war, but also gradually elevate one to transcendental loving service of the Lord, which alone can raise one to the kingdom of God.
So in the last sloka, Supreme Lord was advising Arjuna to take up karma, not give up karma. And in this shloka, Supreme Lord is advising, take up karma for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So just don't take up karma, but do karma for satisfaction of Vishnu. Otherwise, what will happen? It will be cause for bondage. Just fight the war because I am telling you to fight the war. I am Vishnu. Otherwise, bondage ho jayega. You will get yourself bound to this material world. Sloka number 10. Saha yagya prajas shishtva Guru vacha prajapati Anena prashavishyadvam Eshavastvashtakar kamadhu Continue, Prabhu.
In the beginning of creation, the
Can
Lord
your
of...
sound be improved? Can your sound be improved? Is there a fan running?
No, Prabhu.
Anything, nothing? Then do one thing. Put your book between you and your system. Face straight to the system, then your sound would be better.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. In the beginning of creation, Prabhuji, can you hear?
Yes.
The Lord of all creatures.
No. Don't turn your face around. Put your book between you and your system.
The Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yagna, sacrifice, because his performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation." Purport: the material creation by the word of...
Please, everybody read on your own the translation. See if you have not understood. Take 20 seconds. Everybody read. Yes.
प्रभु जी अंत में लिखा हुआ है कि तुम्हें वांछित वस्तुएं प्राप्त हो सकेंगी. यहाँ पे वांछित मेटेरियली और स्पिरिचुअली बोथ.
Materially. And spiritually also if you want, but mainly materially, because as I told, 93% of the Vedas कर्म कांड है. ये करने से ये मिलेगा, ये, but at least क्यों फिर दिया भगवान? कम से कम फंस जाएगा ना वेदों में. वेदों फॉलो करेगा, आस्ते आस्ते डेमी गॉड्स को पूजा करेगा, आस्ते आस्ते स्टेप बाय स्टेप भगवान पे आएगा. एलिवेशन तो होगा थोड़ा धीरे धीरे. ओके, तात्पर्य. Purport, Prabhu.
The material creation by the Lord of creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back home, back to Godhead. All living entities within the material creation are conditioned by material nature because of the forgetfulness of their relationship to Vishnu or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles are to help us understand this eternal relation as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. In the Vedic hymns it is said, Patim Viswasat me swaram. Therefore, the Lord of the living entities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also 2.4.20, Srila Sukadev Goswami described the Lord as Pati in so many ways.
So while reading the Vedas, this person is slowly going to accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord, correct? Because most of the shlokas directly, indirectly are praising Lord Vishnu only. Yes? Yeah. Please read.
Sriyapatir Yagnapatir Prajapati Sriyapatir Yagnapatir Prajapati Dhyam Lokapatir Dhara Patir Gatischandaka Vrishni Sattvatam Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Pati.
Excellent.
The Prajapati is Lord Vishnu, and he is the Lord of all living creatures, all worlds and all beauties, and the protector of everyone.
अरे प्रजापति तो ब्रह्मा है. Why you are calling Vishnu? Remember, Brahma was born from the navel of Vishnu, है ना? So Vishnu is Prajapati. Okay, continue.
The Lord created this material world to enable the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yagnas for the satisfaction of Vishnu, so that while in the material world they can live very comfortably without anxiety, and after finishing the present material body they can enter into the kingdom of God. That is the whole program for the conditioned soul. By performance of yagna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. In the age of Kali, the Sankirtana Yagna, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scriptures. And this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtan Yagna and Krishna consciousness go well together. Lord Krishna in his devotional form as Lord Chaitanya is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32 as follows, with special reference to the Sankirtan Yagna. Krishna Varnam Trisakras
कृष्णवर्णम कृषा कृष्णम सांगोपांगास्त्र पार्षदम. आगे बोलून. यज्ञ
Yagna Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti hi Sumedhasa.
Yes.
In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yagna. Other yagnas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali, but the Sankirtan Yagna is easy and sublime for all purposes, as recommended in Bhagavad Gita also 9.14.
So other yajnas prescribed in the Vedic literature are not easy to perform in the age of Kali. Please give me examples of other yajnas, Rajiv Prabhu, which are not easy to perform in the age of Kali.
Prabhu, like yajnas, like in Satyuga it was meditation, or in Dwapar it was mainly Archan
Yes.
Vigraha Seva, and in Treta it was mostly yajna.
Yeah, very good.
So
So these are not
all this
possible in the age of Kali. Possible is very difficult. Very difficult. Huh? So going and meditating or doing yajna every day at home, my goodness, home will be black color. And then Archa Vigra Sevan every day, very expensive. Every day means nobody has time. Everybody is working, doing Mangala Arati, Guru Puja, Bhogarati, Shandhyarati, Shayanarati, my goodness, not possible. So easy is chant Hare Krishna. Any question till now? Sloka number 11. Devan Bhavya भवायतानेन
देवं
देवं
ते देवा भवयन्तु व
देवा
भवयन्तु
परस्परं भवायन्त
परस्परं
श्रेय परम् अवाप्स्यथ
अवाप्स्यथ.
Yes, who wants to read? Anybody else who wants to read? Sadrita Mataji?
The demigods being pleased by
Sound is not
sacrifices.
clear.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, please read.
The demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you, and thus, by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all.
See, God is Supreme Lord is promoting demigod worship, it seems. Huh? The demigod being pleased by sacrifice will also please you. वो भी आपको जो चाहेगा देगा. And thus by cooperation दोनों में, you give what he wants, he will give what you want. आदान प्रदान होगा. By cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all, for you and also for demigods. कर्म योग है ना, so that's why. But you will see how Prabhupada will explain. नहीं भगवान बोल रहे हैं लेकिन devotional service best है. ये सब में मत फंसो. Purport.
The demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. The supply of air, light, water, and all other benedictions for maintaining the body and soul of every living entity is entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistants in different parts of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their pleasures and displeasures are dependent on the performance of yajnas by the human being. Some of the yajnas are meant to satisfy particular demigods, but even so doing, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all yajnas as the chief beneficiary. It is
है ना?
stated.
Have you noticed when we used to have Saraswati Puja at home or Vishwakarma Puja or Kali Puja, all the mantras are actually you will see worshipping. They are pleasing or glorifying Vishnu only. If you carefully notice. Yeah, continue.
Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all yajnas as the chief beneficiary. It is stated also in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna himself is the beneficiary of all kinds of yajnas. Bhuktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka. Therefore, ultimate satisfaction of the Yajnapati is the chief purpose of all yajnas. When these yajnas are perfectly performed, naturally the demigods in charge of different departments of supply are pleased, and there is no scarcity in the supply of natural products.
That's what used to happen in Vrindavan. The Brajavasis, they used to worship Indra, and Indra in return used to give them rain. That was the understanding between them. Correct? Continue.
Performance of yajnas has many side benefits, ultimately leading to liberation from the material bondage. By performance of yajnas, all activities become purified, as it is stated in Vedas. Adhara Suddhau
No.
Sattva
Ahara
Shuddhi. Ahara
Shuddham,
Shuddhau. Oh,
Sattva Shuddhi.
Ahara. Ahara Shuddhau Sattva Shuddhi. Sattva Shuddhau Dhruva Smriti. Smriti Labdhe Sarva Granthinam Vipramoksha. By performance of yajna, one's eatable becomes
Sanctified.
sanctified, and by eating sanctified foodstuffs, one's very existence become purified. By the purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified, and when memory is sanctified, one can think of the path of liberation, and all these combined together lead to Krishna consciousness consciousness, the great necessity of present day society.
Any question? Ishtan bhogan hi wo deva.
Ishtan bhogan hiva deva
Asante yajna bhavita. Tedattan apradayebhyo.
Tedattan apradayebhyo
Yo bhunte stena evasa.
tena eva sa.
Please continue, Mataji.
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice, will supply all the necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
Please
The demigods are.
wait for 10 seconds and then start purport. Continue.
The demigods are authorized supplying agents on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Bakira
Therefore,
mute. Jamadapur, mute, please.
Therefore, they must be satisfied by the performance of prescribed yajnas. In the Vedas, there are different kinds of yajnas prescribed for different kinds of demigods, but all are ultimately offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for one who cannot understand what the Personality of Godhead is. Sacrifice to the demigod is recommended. According to the different material qualities of persons concerned, different type of yajnas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods is also on the same basis, namely according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship the goddess Kali, the ghastly form of material nature, and before the goddess the sacrifice of animal is recommended. But for those who are in mode of goodness, the transcendental worship of Vishnu is recommended. But ultimately, all yajnas are meant for gradual promotion to the transcendental position. For ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas, known as Pancha Mahayajna, are necessary. One should know, however, that all the necessities of life that human society requires are, are supplied by the demigods, agents of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Take, for example, all the eatables of human society. These eatable includes grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, sugar, etc. for the persons in the mode of goodness, and also the eatables for the non-vegetarians like meat, none of which can be manufactured by men. Then again, there, for example, heat, light, water, air, etc., which are also necessities of life, none of them can be manufactured by the human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, breeze, etc., without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord. Even for our manufacturing enterprises, we require so many raw materials like metal, sulfur, mercury, manganese, and so many essentials, all of which are supplied by agents of the Lord, which with the purpose that we should make proper use of them to keep ourselves fit and healthy for the purpose of self realization, leading to the ultimate goal of life, namely liberation from the material struggle for existence. This aim of life is attained by the performance of yajnas. If we forget the purpose of human life and simply take supplies from the agents of the Lord for sense gratification and become more and more entangled in material existence, which is not the purpose of creation, certainly we become thieves. And therefore, we are punished by the laws of material nature. A society of thieves can never be happy because they have no aim in the life. The gross materialist thieves have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yajnas. Lord Chaitanya, however, inaugurated the easiest performance of yajna, namely the Sankirtan yajna, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accepts the principle of Krishna consciousness.
Very, very important shloka. Yagyashishtosi na santo. সবাই বলুন। উচ্চন্তে সর্বকিল্বিষ। ভুঞ্জতে তে ত্বঘম পাপ। ये पचन्तात्मकारणात्। The devotees of the Lord, please mute yourself, are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. The devotees of the Supreme Lord, or the persons who are in Krishna consciousness, are called santas, and they are always in love with the Lord as it is described in the Brahma Samhita. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. The santas, being always in a compact of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the giver of all pleasures, or Mukunda, the giver of liberation, or Krishna, the all-attractive person, cannot accept anything without first offering it to the Supreme Person. Therefore, such devotees always perform yajnas in different modes of devotional service, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, etc. And these performances of yajnas keeps them always aloof from all kinds of contamination of sinful association in the material world. Others who prepare food for self or sense gratification are not only thieves, but also the eaters of all kinds of sins. How can a person be happy if he is both a thief and sinful? It is not possible. Therefore, in order for people to become happy in all respects, they must be taught to perform the easy process of Sankirtan Yajna in full Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there can be no peace or happiness in the world. Any question? Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyadanna sambhava yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhava. All living bodies, please mute yourself, please mute. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifices, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great commentator on the Bhagavad Gita, writes as follows: the Supreme Lord, who is known as the Yajna Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all the demigods, who serve him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are appointed officers who manage material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods, who are different limbs of the Lord's, are also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the devotees of the Lord, who are in Krishna consciousness, offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu and then taken up by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. On the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful actions, and this prepares the next body to resemble hogs and dogs to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack, whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. Food grains or vegetables are factually eatables. The human being eats different kinds of food grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And the animals eat the refuse of the food grains and vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat the animals. Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the fields and not on the production of big factories. The field production is due to sufficient rain from the sky, and such rains are controlled by the demigods like Indra, sun, moon, etc. And they are all servants of the Lord. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is the law of nature. Yajna, specifically the Sankirtan Yajna prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from scarcity of food supply. Karma Brahmodbhavan Vidhi. Yes, Rajiv Prabhu.
Karma Brahma.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, in the purport, when Prabhupada says that in Krishna consciousness, we offer food to Krishna and then eat a process which nourishes the body spiritually. So, what kind of food should be offered? We know, it should be a vegetarian food without onion, garlic. Those are the criteria. But then there are certain foods about which we do not see direct clarity in the books. Let's say for bread or pastries or sometimes sweets from outside shops. Sometimes devotees, they will bring sweet from outside shops and we offer. So does that become prasad? Does Krishna accept that?
Okay, good question. Yeah, you can mute yourself. So what Krishna accepts, first criteria is written that 4 regulative principles. So it should be vegetarian without onion, garlic, of course. But then there are shlokas like Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Yomya Bhakta Prachit, Sadaram Bhakti Uparitam. So then more criteria come. भाव से ऑफर करना पड़ेगा with love and affection. So who will do that? A devotee. A non-devotee will not do that. So there are further criteria. First, it is vegetarian. ठीक है, vegetarian है. Okay, without onion, garlic, no problem. Then with love and affection. So if you buy sweets from outside, that fellow who is making those sweet shop, I mean the sweet shop fellow, he doesn't chant. He's not a devotee of Krishna. Why will he make in love with love and affection? क्यों? He is a service person. उसको तनख्वाह मिलता है 20,000 रुपया. That's it. He is concerned about that only. That's why in Radha Govind temple in Calcutta, even the sweets which we make, those are made by devotees. है ना? Even the sweets are made by devotees. There is one Prabhu comes in the morning, he makes those sweets, and there is one this what's it called? Kalakand, ghee kalakand, very nice. And then somebody comes in the evening, makes malpua. It took malpua, ghee kalakand bhog di ashlam. And other devotees make nice sweets. So this is second class. This is first class. Second class is to buy outside and offer it to Lord. Prabhupada, in one of his purports, says that can be accepted. Sweets from outside can be accepted and offered to the Lord, thinking that at least sweet will have no contamination. It is made from maida and milk products. So ठीक है, चलता है. But that is चलता है. That is not दौड़ता है. That is second class. First class would be if devotees can make and offer to the Lord. And regarding bread, same thing. We have even pastry shops. We have devotees who make bread at home and they offer to the Lord. That is first class. The second class would be buying and offering, purchasing and offering. Now, everything depends on your level of consciousness. There are many elevated devotees. They even make biscuits at home. I know, I personally know many of them, especially few Maharajas have criteria. Like Param Puja Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, if you want to get initiate from him, even the biscuits he doesn't allow. His disciples cannot eat biscuits, also outside biscuits. You have to make biscuits at home. So many Maharajas have many conditions, etc. So it depends on your level of consciousness, how you want to, put yourself, how you want to restrict yourself, how you want to, because at the end, everything affects our consciousness. So you can have a fuchka, you can say the fuchka is without onion, garlic. But remember, with the 20 rupees you are having fuchka of an outside person, his conscious, you are buying his consciousness for 10-20 rupees. You are buying the fuchka wala's consciousness for 20 rupees. Because the fuchka wala, who's a non-vegetarian, smoker, drinker, peep, all his consciousness will come while he is making that masala, putting that masala in the fuchka, giving you, offering you, and you are eating. So you're eating actually his consciousness. And in the long run, his consciousness will become your consciousness. It is bound to become like that. जैसा खाए अन्न वैसा बने मन. हिंदी में कहावत है ना ऐसे कुछ. Yeah. Okay. So we have to be careful. By raising our standards slowly, we'll improve our consciousnness. Yes, Rajiv.
Prabhu, in breads and pastries, how do we consider the yeast?
No, there is vegetable substitute for yeast. There is vegetable substitute for yeast. So don't you worry about that. Abhishek Prabhu, you had a question?
प्रभु जी वही पूछ रहा था, जैसे when we buy something from shop, sweets or anything, तो we don't know how मतलब वो कितनी सफाई से बन रहा है या फिर जो बना रहा है उसका कॉन्शियसनेस कैसा है, तो वो भी तो फिर मतलब कंसिडर करना बहुत.
So what I suggest, my class members, I suggest that first of all, the big meals, like the major meals like breakfast, lunch, dinner, These are major meals, right? For everybody. Now, make sure that these are purely made at home. Start with this. These three things, breakfast, lunch, dinner, should be made at home. 100% made at home. And those small meals, then slowly take care of those small meals, fillers. We call them fillers. Some snack, to bikal wala to muri khete ichhe korche or something, some chanachur khete ichhe korche something, those things. Slowly substitute. How you can substitute? You can substitute from Govindas, you can buy those things. Prabhu ji, बहुत expensive है. बाहर से खरीदते हैं, सस्ता मिलता है. But what to do? At least your money is going to ISKCON. And even Patit Pavan Prabhu makes all those fellows in Govindas chant 4 rounds every day. I know that. So at least they are devotees. They are making and you are eating. So okay, fine. And your money is also going to ISKCON. So slowly you can do these things. Chalega aste aste. Actually, first understand, it's very important to understand the logic. Everything is systematic and scientific in Krishna consciousness. And everything has collateral damages. Slowly, if we don't raise our standards, we'll see that even after being in the movement for so many years, चेतना वैसे की वैसी ही है, कुछ परिवर्तन नहीं हो रहा है. Yeah. Where are we? In sloka number 16? 15.
श्लोका.
कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवन विद्धि. बोलिए. ब्रह्मक्षर समुद्भवाम. तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the SPOG. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Yagyartha karmana, or the necessity of work for the satisfaction of Krishna only, is more expressly stated in this verse. If we have to work for the satisfaction of Yagya Purusha, Vishnu, then we must find out the direction of work in Brahman or the transcendental Vedas. The Vedas are therefore codes of working directions. Anything performed without the direction of the Vedas is called vikarma, or unauthorized or sinful work. Therefore, one should always take direction from the Vedas to be saved from the reaction of work. As one has to work in ordinary life by the direction of the state, one similarly has to work under direction of the supreme state of the Lord. Such directions in the Vedas are directly manifested from the breath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedas, they have come from the breath. He breathed out, and that's how the Vedas came. It is said, Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishvasitam Etad Yad Rigvedo Yajurveda Samaveda Atharva Angi Rasha. The four Vedas, namely Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda, all are emanations from the breathing of the great personality of Godhead. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. The Lord, being omnipotent, can speak by breathing air. For as it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord has omnipotence to perform through each of his senses the action of all other senses. Who knows the shloka? Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti. In other words, the Lord can speak through his breathing and he can impregnate by his eyes. In fact, it is said that he glanced over material nature and thus fathered all living entities. After creating or impregnating the conditioned souls into the womb of material nature, he gave his directions in the Vedic wisdom as to how such conditioned souls can return home back to Godhead. We should always remember that conditioned souls in material nature are all eager for material enjoyment. But the Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted desires, then return to Godhead, having finished his so-called enjoyment. It is a chance for the conditioned souls to attain liberation. Therefore, the conditioned souls must try to follow the process of yajna by becoming Krishna conscious. Even those who have not followed the Vedic injunctions may adopt the principles of Krishna consciousness, and that will take the place of performance of Vedic yajnas or karmas. Last sentence ta boja gelo. For even those who have not followed the Vedic injunctions may adopt the principles of Krishna consciousness. Like there are many who are not in Varnashram. The foreigners, they never know Varna ashrams, Chaturvarna Chaturashrams. But from zero to hero, they can become hero. Na? They can come directly into Krishna consciousness and accept all the Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. So even a person who is not in Varna ashram can also, one lifetime is good enough for a person from a non-Varna ashram person to a pure devotee of the Lord. One lifetime is good enough if he gets association of pure souls. Any question? Sloka number 16. Today's last sloka. Yeah, Manidhar Prabhu.
प्रभु लास्ट 3 लाइन्स एक बार और समझना चाहूंगा.
Last sentence.
Even यहाँ तक कि जो वैदिक आदेशों का पालन,
हाँ बोलिए हिंदी.
वो तीनों लाइन प्रभु, यहाँ तक कि वैदिक आदेशों का पालन नहीं करते, वे भी कृष्ण भावनामृत के सिद्धांतों को ग्रहण कर सकते हैं, जिससे वैदिक यज्ञों या कर्मों की पूर्ति हो जाए.
हाँ, वैदिक यज्ञ का और कर्म का पूर्ति क्या होता है? भगवान को संतुष्टि करना. तो जो वैदिक इंजंक्शंस को फॉलो भी नहीं करता, कोई वर्णाश्रम में भी नहीं है, जैसे विदेशी लोग, क्या उस समय 1970s में प्रभुपाद से जब मिले उन लोग वर्णाश्रम में थे क्या? नहीं, सब हिप्पीज थे, सब सड़क पे आ गए थे, इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन हो रहा था, किसी के पास नौकरी नहीं था, घर भी नहीं, घर वर सब छोड़ के बाहर आकर सिर्फ इंजेक्शंस पे इंजेक्शंस ले रहा था, है ना? Forget about वैदिक तो दूर की बात, कुछ भी नहीं था, but they came into devotional service प्रभुपाद के संस्पर्श में आकर. And then फिर लास्ट में क्या लिखा है सेंटेंस में, हिंदी में पढ़िए.
सिद्धांतों को ग्रहण करके जिससे वैदिक यज्ञों या कर्मों की पूर्ति हो जाएगी.
हाँ, वैदिक यज्ञ और कर्म. वैदिक कर्म क्या है? श्रवणम, कीर्तनम, ये सब पूर्ति हो जाएगी. तो उन्होंने भी प्रभुपाद के साथ कीर्तन वीर्तन किया, क्लास अटेंड किया, और बाद में ऐसा व्यक्ति जो अफ्रीका में जन्म लिया जो लोग, और उन लोग जब प्रभुपाद के क्लास अटेंड करते थे, प्रभुपाद हैड 2 extra regulative principles for African devotees. There were 2 extra rules. One was no eating mosquitoes in class. don't get surprised. And second was no stealing Swamiji's dhoti. These 2 extra regulative principles were there for African devotees. I hope you all don't, we don't have to introduce this in class. I hope nobody eats mosquitoes in class. But can you imagine those devotees later on? Satguru Maharaj writes in his book, few of them, they now travel all over the world. They have become sannyasis and they preach deity worship. Once when they were in Prabhupada's class, they used to eat mosquitoes. They have now become sannyasis and they are preaching deity worship all around the world. Can you imagine? They are installing deities in big ISKCON temples. What a transformation! Were they in any Varnashram? No. Were they following any Vedic injunctions? No. But see the change. Yeah, continue. हो गया ने? Yeah, sloka number 16, last sloka today's. Evam pravartitam chakram.
Evam
pravartitam chakram
Nanu varta yahiti haya.
Nanuvartayati
Adhayur indriya. Ramo.
Rama
Mogham partha sajivati.
Mogam
My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. व्यर्थ, उनका जीवन ही व्यर्थ है. Purport. Please give 100% concentration. The Mammonist philosophy of work very hard and enjoy sense gratification is condemned herein by the Lord. Therefore, those who want to enjoy this material world, the above mentioned cycle of performing yajnas is absolutely necessary. One who does not follow such regulation is living a very risky life, being condemned more and more. By nature's law, this human form of life is specifically meant for self-realization in either of the three ways, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. There is no necessity of rigidly following the performance of the prescribed yajnas for the transcendentalists, who are above vice and virtues. But those who are engaged in sense gratification require purification by the above mentioned cycle of yajna performances. Therefore, there are different kinds of activities. Those who are not Krishna conscious are certainly engaged in sensory consciousness. Therefore, they need to execute pious work. The yajna system is planned in such a way that sensory conscious person may satisfy their desires without becoming entangled in the reaction of sense gratificatory work. The prosperity of the world depends not only on our efforts, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, directly carried out by demigods. Oh, powerful statement. Too good purport. Yeah, Manizar Prabhu, बोलिए.
इसी पावरफुल स्टेटमेंट पे थोड़ा फोकस करना चाह रहा था प्रभु.
देखिए, the prosperity of the world does not depend on our effort. अगर हम लोग का परिश्रम ही prosperity से एकदम डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनेट होता तो सबसे ज्यादा अमीर तो रिक्शा वाला और ठेला वाला होता है. उन लोग जितना परिश्रम करता है, क्या हम लोग उतना परिश्रम करते हैं? नहीं करते. So what it depends on? देखिए लिखा है प्रभुपाद जी ने, but on the background arrangement of the Supreme Lord, directly carried out by the demigods. बैकग्राउंड अरेंजमेंट किससे एग्जीक्यूट कराते हैं भगवान? डेमिगॉड से. इसको दे दो, इसको दरकार है, ये बहुत धार्मिक है, इसको ये दे दो, वो दे दो, इसको दे दो, ये सब दे दो, पैसा दे दो, सुंदर बना दो, आज ऊंचे कुल में जन्म दे दो, पढ़ लिख के बना दो, फंसे रहने दो अहंकार से इसी जड़ जगत में, दे दो इसको. Therefore, the yajnas are directly aimed at the particular demigods mentioned in the Vedas. Indirectly, it is the practice of Krishna consciousness, because when one masters the performance of yajnas, one is sure to become Krishna conscious. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted only as moral codes. One should not, therefore, limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. Bojagalo last time, moral codes and all that. A lot of people are doing yajnas, Ashwamedh yajna to become Indra, Putreshti yajna to get a son. Is it big to become Krishna conscious? No. तो क्या फायदा? कोई फायदा नहीं. यही चक्कर में घूमते रहेंगे. But if by performing yajnas one does not become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral codes. One should not therefore limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Please, Sadrita Mataji, share the memory shlokas. Manizar Prabhu.
प्रभु, इसका मतलब यदि जीवों की अपनी इच्छा पूरी हो जाती है, इसका मतलब एक्चुअल में भगवान कृपा नहीं कर रहे हैं।
फिर से बोलिए।
यदि जीवों को मटेरियल वांट्स पूरे हो जा रहे हैं,
हाँ,
वो जो चाह रहे हैं वो पूरे हो जा रहे हैं देवी देवताओं के द्वारा,
हाँ,
तो यदि सही रूप में देखा जाए तो भगवान की वो कृपा नहीं है,
एकदम नहीं है,
क्योंकि
एकदम नहीं।
भगवान इच्छाओं की पूर्ति नहीं करते हैं।
इच्छा की पूर्ति कर, उनका ये डिजायर है, दे दो दे दो दे दो, जो जैसा चाहे वैसे दे दो। हाँ, तो दोनों तरफ है, एक तरफ ये भी है और एक तरफ भगवान परमात्मा रूप में भी है, वेट कर रहा है कब ये थोड़ा अक्कल आए, कब इसका दिमाग में अक्कल आए। भगवान वो दो पंछी का उदाहरण दिया हुआ है ना कठोपनिषद में। पहला पंछी आत्मा है, दूसरा पंछी परमात्मा है। वेट कर रहा है कब इसको अक्कल आएगा, कब मेरी तरफ देखेगा, कब भक्ति करेगा। बहुत चीज है, बहुत। एक तरह से भगवान पूर्ति भी कर रहा है और दूसरी तरफ भगवान चाहते भी है कि हम लोग भगवान भजन कीर्तन करें, भक्ति में आए। लेकिन कभी भी भगवान जबरदस्ती नहीं करेगा, कभी भी भगवान इच्छाओं पे हस्तक्षेप नहीं करेगा। हिंदी में बोलते ना हस्तक्षेप, दखल अंदाजी, कभी नहीं करेगा, छोड़ देगा पूरा उनके ऊपर। ओके, सो एक बार लेट अस रिसाइट द मेमोरी श्लोकास। हाउ कैन वी डू दिस? Okay, I am reading the memory shlokas. Please mute yourself and read with me. Mute yourself and read with me. Bhagavad Gita 1.6. युध्यमन्योश्च विक्रांत उत्तमोजश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्व एव महारथ. Bhagavad Gita 2.7. कार्पण्यदोषोपहत स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वं धर्म सम्मूढचेत यश्रेयस्वनिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वं प्रपन्नम्. Those who have learned, please try not to see. Close your eyes and speak and recite. Bhagavad Gita 2.13. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरा प्राप्तिर् धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. Bhagavad Gita 2.20. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूय अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Bhagavad Gita 2.44. भोगेश्वर्य प्रशक्तानां तया परितचेतसां व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि समादो न विधीयते. Bhagavad Gita 3.27. प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वश अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. Bhagavad Gita 4.2. एवं परंपरा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदु सकालेन महता योगो नष्ट परन्तप. Bhagavad Gita 4.9. जन्म कर्मच्च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति स्वार्जुन. Bhagavad Gita 4.34. तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदिक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. Bhagavad Gita 5.22. ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोग दुःख योनय एव ते अद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेय नातेषु रमते बुधा. Bhagavad Gita 5.29. भोक्तारां यज्ञ तपसां सर्वलोक महेश्वरं सूरिदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति. Bhagavad Gita 6.47. योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेरन्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Yes, we got couple of minutes. Anybody wants to say anything, any comment, any feedback? Once again, I request all of you, try to read the passage before the class. And if possible, I know most of you are working, but if possible, try to have a rest, 45 minutes, 1 hour rest before you join the class. Manager Prabhu?
आप प्रभु फीडबैक में यही बोलना चाहेंगे प्रभु, आप ये क्लास की वजह से ही हम लोग गीता कर पा रहे फिर से, वरना ये क्लास नहीं होता तो हम लोग फिर से गीता नहीं करते.
Very nice. Okay. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhu, Sadhu Pranam.
Krishna, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.